Okay, so today I'm with racehorse trainer Joe Tickle at Lower Ford Stables, Studley. Thanks very much for agreeing to talk to me today, Joe.
No trouble.
Been after you for a while. You've been a bit elusive, but trying to get my man in the end. So you're a dual-purpose trainer, flat and jumps, and you share this yard with your partner Danielle.
Yeah.
How long have you been here?
So we've lived here, I think we've lived here just over 2 years now. We've owned the place for 6, coming up to 7 years. And it's working out all right.
So is it your first yard?
Danielle and I rented a yard before. We rented a yard not far from Richard Woolcott's yard, Rose Ash, when we lived in Bishop's Minton. And then we managed to buy this place, like I say, 6 years ago. So then we moved the horses here. When we came here, there was just a couple of rows of derelict stables. They did riding holidays from here. So the first thing we did was knock down a row of the stables, and we got PFG and the Govia brothers. They were real good to us. They put the barn up for us, and we put some half decent stables in, and we just ran the point-to-pointers from here.
Okay, so how did you come across these facilities?
It was advertised. It was actually advertised in 2 halves, with the top half being like a log cabin type holiday home bit and a couple of acres, and the bottom part being the stables. And we came and looked at it and said if we were going to make use of it, we'd have all of it. We got a nice bit of help. Well, we got some help from the family to buy it, just like a private mortgage type thing. And we've just gone from there really.
So I know your recent background in horse racing, but what is your background? Were you sort of born into it?
Yeah, so my dad was football, my mum was horses. So I did a mixture of both growing up and thoroughly enjoyed the pair. Couldn't choose between them most of the time, but I'd often be going hunting in the morning and then football with Dad in the afternoon on a weekend. That was normal for us. We did a lot. We were very lucky. I've got 2 younger sisters. They both rode a lot. My sister Leander, she was a successful jockey. We did a lot of pony club. Mum always managed to find us some sort of pony to have a go with. And I think, looking back, looking at the work it takes to get your kids up and going, it was very, very helpful. We've ridden all our lives, and then started riding pointing a bit. Really enjoyed that, and then just found it hard on my weight. But then I got forced into university by my parents. No interest in going really, but I got through that. And she said to me, when I finished university, I got my grades, and she said, go and do what you want for a few years now. And I went to Nick Williams's as pupil assistant, and then I've never really left racing.
Okay, what did you study at university?
I did a business administration degree.
Oh, so that'll come in handy.
It was meant to be a 4-year degree, and the 3rd year was meant to be a year in placement. I went for an interview in Bristol, and in an office, boxy little 4x4 desk, and I thought, I can't think of anything worse than sitting in here for a year. And actually, I'd been to Dave Pipes for my work experience in school. I rang Dave on the way home, and he didn't need to take any time out to talk to me, did he? But he very kindly let me stop in on the way home, had a chat to him, and I just said to him, I don't know what to do, Dave. That's not a bit of me at all. I want to be doing something more like this. Not obviously, didn't say I'm going to train. I just said I want to work in racing, etc. So he was real good. Sat me down, we had a good chat, and came out of it. I changed my course to a 3-year course, got that done, and then, like I said, went straight to Nick Williams's.
Okay, now you go back to your riding as you were quite a successful point-to-point rider.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I found it really hard work. The lads that I rode with, I grew up riding with Will Biddick. My claim to fame was I rode a winner before he did, and he backed it as well. It was 20-1. But I just found it, once I got going, I found it really hard on my weight. I'm about 13 stone now. I was been 13-10 on a Monday, Tuesday, and I'd be 11, 12 stone to ride on a Saturday, Sunday. And there's a lot of weight to shift every week, and I couldn't maintain it. But when I didn't have kids or anything else to do, it was what I lived for, really. I loved it. So I wasn't either playing football or doing that. And then, just did it for as long as I could. And then when I met Danny, she overshed Taylor. He was 6 or 7 at the time. And I remember sweating one day, and he came into the bathroom and was real concerned about me because I was real red because I was having a right good sweat. And I just remember thinking, I can't really achieve any more than I've done now, riding point to points. Can't do the weight to riding anything else. And it's much more appealing to have a kickabout with him of an evening than it was spend an hour and a half running and an hour and a half in the bath.
Did you have were the tall genes in your family? Did were your mum and dad tall? Did you sort of know it was on the cards?
Well, not really. I wasn't that tall through school. I thought I'd be fine. When I first went to Pipes, my work experience, I think I was 9.5 stone, and genuinely thought I might be a jockey. And then I went back the year after for my summer holidays when I'd finished school, and I think I was 11 stone then, and it was always like going to go the wrong way. But my dad he'd be 6'2", I'm 6'3", and yeah, I just kept growing late on, and it just always made it difficult.
Would you think being a jockey would have been on the cards had you remained sort of a bit more jockey sort of height?
I'd love to say yes, and I joke about it with all the lads. Like, I'd still school now, and I enjoy that side of it. But whether I'd have been good enough or not, I don't know. But well, I'd love to say yes, and I'd be as keen as anyone still, like I say, with the riding, and really keen to get behind Taylor and things like that. So I wish I could have had a better go at it, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Did it sort of put you in a bit of good stead to understand a bit more as a trainer if your jockey maybe makes a mistake or doesn't ride quite such a good race as you'd hope? Could you sort of be a little bit more sympathetic having been in that position?
I don't know if sympathetic's a word. It makes me frustrated because I think I wish I was riding it. But quite often, I'd imagine I wouldn't do anywhere near as good a job as the lads do. But it's one of those things, isn't it? You've got to be confident in what you do, and you've got to have confidence in yourself. And I always like when things don't work out. I know not that you're looking for blame, but you're trying to find ways in which things could have happened differently. And like I said, I'd still do a lot of the schooling at home and things like that. I don't know if the jockeys think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but like I would never want to send one to the races not jumping very well. And I think if it's jumping at home well, I want to see it jump well on the race course. And obviously everyone rides different horses for different jockeys and things like that. But I always think if they can jump right for me at home, and I'm definitely not a jockey, then they should jump right at the races. I know there's other factors, but it's a difficult one, isn't it?
Now, you said that you got a placement as pupil assistant with Nick Williams.
That's right.
Culver Hill Farm. Tell us a bit about Nick.
I got on with Nick, brilliant. I still think I'd be able to chat to him now, and he's just a real good fella. I learnt an awful lot off him. I think he's a real intelligent man for reading a pedigree, and he'd buy a real nice horse for not a lot of money. I was lucky enough to be there at a good time. We had Diamond Harry won the Hennessy, Rev de Civila was there. I think I'm right in saying Rev de Civila was $6,000, and he was a monster of a horse and a real pleasure to do. Diamond Harry I think was $11,000. Like, they were well bought and they were proper horses. I was very lucky when I was there. I did a lot of schooling, rode a lot of good horses. I did a lot, like most of the schooling with Diamond Harry before we went to the Hennessy, and I always thought I was very lucky to do that. Went to France, schooled around cross-country courses out there, schooled the Cheltenham horses around the cross-country courses there, and for me, like, because I was never going to be a professional jockey, doing those things, getting to do them was incredible. I rode a piece of work round Exeter on Rev de Civila upsized Diamond Harry before we went to the Gold Cup, like schooled round there, and to me, like, knowing I was never going to ride around those tracks, getting to ride horses like that round there, upsides, like, I'm good friends with Darryl Jacob and he rode the other one, and that was like, I love that. That's what I live for, really. The real good buzz from doing that.
And there was Paul Duffy involved with both of them, wasn't he?
That's right.
A friend of mine, Andrew, mounted a leg in Rev de Civila.
Yeah.
Nick was very patient with his horses, but you have to have patient owners as well, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're very lucky with the owners. We've got a great group of owners, and I think it's all one big team, really, and they know that they're on board with us, and we're doing all we can, hopefully, to get the best from the horses. We're always prepared to try different things, to try and eke out bits of improvement wherever we think possible. Some things work, some things don't. We're very open about what we try and do with them and what routes we look to go down, and sometimes it might be the wrong route, sometimes it's worth exploring a few different ones, but patience is the key. There's nothing worse than having, like, people trying to press you when you can only go as fast as the horse is willing to. Like, horses, usually you're looking for improvement, and they all improve at different speeds and for doing different things. So if you've got people that are trying to press on, I understand there's a financial aspect of that, but if you've got people trying to push on before the horses are ready to, that's usually when it gets difficult then, because you're asking too many questions of the horses, or they're not up to doing what you or the owners are expecting them to do, and it's a hard enough job as it is if everything goes right. And when you've got external factors like that making it difficult and trying to force your hand, it definitely doesn't make it easier.
Yeah, I mean, it must be quite difficult as the owners are paying the bills, but you are the people that know how to train horses.
Well, yeah, know how to train horses, maybe not, but exactly that. we try and work with them all the time, and if we don't think they're up to scratch, we would say straight away. And if we think, as long as they're improving, we're happy to keep persevering, obviously as long as the owners are as well. And I think all you can do is look for improvement. And it's mad because, like, obviously when you've got two, like, yearlings, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, you're expecting improvement all the time. But when you deal with older horses, like when we bought Galactic Glow, he was 0 from 30, and whether we must have improved him a little bit because he hadn't won before. And now he's won 3 races. And we've had a few like that have gone on to win a few more. So whether it's a change of scenery or doing things different, or like this, like I said, we'd always try different things all the time, but eking out improvement is what you've got to try and do. And if something's not improving anymore, then you've got to be open and upfront, haven't you, and think maybe we do things different, or maybe it's time for a different like way you do things.
Okay, so you did some work experience with David Pipe.
Yeah.
Then you were down at Nick Williams's, and then your neighbour here, Nigel Hawke, you were assistant to Nigel for a bit?
That's right. I went and trained a few pointers in between, and then that was when I met Danny, and then we trained some pointers together, and we first got our own yard then, and then when we had our own yard at Rose Ash, then we, like, I've known Nigel a long time, and that was the time when we were in contact with Nigel, and I went there for a little while. Yeah, Danny was there as well for a bit, and yeah, we built a real good relationship. We're next door, and I still ride out there a little bit, and then help out where we can, and we train on their gallops. So we've got a good relationship.
And you got 3 different yards there? Was there much difference in the way things were done?
Yeah, I think everyone does things their own way, but I think it just comes from, like, Nick and Nigel. Obviously, they've been in it a lot longer than I have, and they've probably the same as me, just a few years ahead, in that you pick things up you like, you pick things up you don't like, but I find you learn more from what people do that you wouldn't do than you do from the things you see that are positive. But I think in terms of, like, there would be different attitudes towards it. Obviously Nigel was a jockey and Nick wasn't, and they would come at it from slightly different angles, but all in all, like, I've learned a lot from both of them, and they're both real genuine good people to work for, and people now that I'd still be able to speak to regularly. And well, I don't know, I'd be interested to hear their perspective on it, and obviously they've known me from when I was younger and was sort of wanting to be where they are and things like that, and they've would have seen the steps we've made, and I don't know what their perspective is on it, but they've been very good to me and very helpful along the way, both of them.